Hey, I know what you're going to say. Another future timeline video? And the answer to that? Yeah. There's just something about that setting that latched on to me when I was young. You can't sit there and tell me you didn't want to slide for Gohan when he got slammed out by the androids. And now until Super showed us what Trunks was up to in his timeline, fans spent years speculating about whether he ever managed to revive his friends or not. So the community has taken upon themselves to build that reality inside Sparking Zero's custom battles, creating the timeline where the future is finally brought back to normal. If you're new here, this is the series where I showcase your custom battles, and this specific story actually shocked me with how it ended. So sit back, grab that protein bar, and relax as we check out the timeline where Trunks revives his friends. Trunks successfully puts a stop to Majin Buu's revival, leaving Dabura and Babidi completely defeated. Sometime later, Trunks and Bulma receive an SOS from planet Namek. The Ground Elder used his magic to track down the power signatures of the warriors who defeated Frieza all those years ago. Desperate for help against a new monster causing chaos on their world, Bulma locks in the coordinates to new planet Namek and sends Trunks out to investigate. When he touches down, he catches two soldiers attacking a nearby Namekian village. Trunks steps in and immediately notices that this armor looks exactly like the gear worn by the Frieza Force he sliced to pieces in the past. Just like those previous soldiers, these grunts underestimate him. Trunks deals with the first one instantly, and before the remaining soldier can even process what happened, he gets blown away too. That's when the leader descends from the sky. Cooler has made his way to planet Namek hunting for the Dragon Balls. Cooler starts spouting the typical Cold Clan trash talk, but Trunks is completely unfazed. None of Cooler's initial attacks can even scratch him. Getting entirely frustrated, Cooler hurls a quick death ball, but the Saiyan stands through the blast without taking a single hit. Baffled that a mortal can possess this kind of strength, Cooler decides to transform into his final form. But Trunks isn't here to play around or waste time, so he powers straight into Super Saiyan. And that shift in energy sends a pure panic to Cooler as he finally realizes the caliber of the warrior he's dealing with. Desperate and terrified, Cooler throws every ounce of his remaining power into a massive supernova. But just like before, Trunks stands tall right through the explosion. Now tired of the match, Trunks decides it's time to end it all. With new Namek saved, Trunks becomes a local hero. It's a wild twist of fate that the son of the man who caused the Namekian people so much despair ends up being the one who rescues them from absolute extinction. Before he heads out, the Namekians grant Trunks the use of Purunga. The wish is finally made. Everyone killed by the androids is returned to life on Earth. Trunks heads back to his ship, energized to return home and see the future finally restored to the way it should be. Back on Earth, the Dragon Team materializes in the local field, completely confused about how they suddenly return to the world of the living. Bulma arrives at the landing zone to meet them, filling everyone in on exactly what Trunks managed to accomplish across the stars. Gohan is incredibly grateful, recognizing that this was the burning will of hope that kept alive that finally brought them to this hard-fought peace. While everyone else is catching up, Vegeta stands in the background taking notice of Gohan's current strength, instantly demanding a match right then and there. This spark ends up setting off the rest of the group, with everyone suddenly wanting to showcase the power they managed to stack up while training in the afterlife. Tien steps up to start the gauntlet first. Even though he's significantly stronger than he was during the android crisis, the gap between them is just too immense. Gohan is operating on an entirely different league and makes short work of him. Piccolo is up next, giving the student and mentor a chance to finally go all out against one another. Piccolo already knows he won't walk away with the win here. He even makes a comment acknowledging just how absurdly strong Gohan has become, which is proven right the second he loses the match. This leaves only one combatant left. The Prince of Saiyans flies into the ring, but because he never made it to heaven and wasn't allowed to keep his physical body in the afterlife, his power is completely frozen at the exact level it was during the android arc. That harsh reality hits him quickly that he stands no chance. He pushes into Super Saiyan thinking the extra multiplier can close the gap between him and the boy, but Gohan shows him that he's not the only one that can utilize that form. Gohan powers up and the sheer force radiating from him drives Vegeta insane with anger, realizing just how far behind everyone he's been left. In one sharp movement, Vegeta is knocked flat out on his back. From the sky, Goku finally reveals himself. He wasn't brought back to life since he died of natural causes, but he's been granted special permission to visit his friends for a little while. He wants to test his son's power before he has to head back, and Gohan is more than happy to oblige, eager to show his father exactly how far he's come. The two clash with insane power. Goku realizes early on that he can't take his son lightly, so he decides to show everyone a trick he picked up in the afterlife. He pushes straight into Super Saiyan 2, catching the entire group by surprise. But this new level doesn't intimidate Gohan. Instead, it only motivates him to fight harder. It isn't long before Goku acknowledges Gohan's incredible strength and decides to push himself even further beyond. Goku powers up and stands before them as a Super Saiyan 3. Looking at his father, Gohan suddenly realizes the massive gap in power that still exists between the two. Even with all his strength, Gohan is only able to keep up for a short time before the realization hits that he can't sustain this match or take the win. Goku leaves deeply impressed by everyone's growth. Meanwhile, Vegeta flies off from the battlefield, finally hitting his boiling point. He's been completely outclassed by the humans and his rivals, leaving him desperate to find a way to reclaim his status as the strongest. The Dragon team say their final goodbyes to Goku, knowing that when they eventually pass away from their natural causes, they'll meet him again. But until then, they finally have their lives back. Goku returns to the Otherworld to continue tracking down stronger opponents to face. But this isn't where the story ends. Deep in the mountains of Earth, buried in the rubble of an old laboratory, Dr. Gero opens his eyes. Because he was technically killed by the androids, he was grouped right in with the rest of the revived souls. Trunks' ship is still making its way towards Earth, but in the meantime, Vegeta is doing absolutely everything he can to reclaim his spot at number 1. He locks himself under the extreme weight of the gravity chamber, pushing his limits until he believes he's built up enough strength to finally beat Gohan. He rushes over to his location to test his new power, and Gohan has no issue stepping in for a friendly match. Throughout the fight, Vegeta's frustration peaks as he realizes that he still can't even land a damaging blow on Gohan. It feels like all that brutal training went to waste, and Gohan puts him down much faster than the prince ever anticipated. Once the match ends, Gohan offers a compliment on Vegeta's growth, and instead of storming off in a rage this time, Vegeta actually stops. He asks Gohan how he managed to reach such a ridiculous level of power, and Gohan breaks down the details of his entire journey and training in the Otherworld. We flash back to the afterlife journeys of Gohan and Piccolo. Here in the peace of heaven, the two are reunited, training under open skies as they prepare for the Grand Kai's Otherworld tournament. Gohan, still carrying the rugged look from his years of survival in the future, finally has a lighter heart. Knowing Trunks fulfilled the mission and that Earth was freed from the terror of the androids allows him to truly rest alongside the loved ones who were taken from him when he was just a child. Piccolo finally gets to stand back and see what his student has truly become, and their conversations are filled with a deep sense of pride. When the tournament day arrives, we're thrown straight into the first match, Piccolo vs Nappa. The Grand Kai allowed souls from Hell to enter this bracket, setting the stage for some very familiar rivalries to resurface. Nappa is completely unaware of how much time has passed or how high the ceiling has gotten. He recognizes his old enemy and thinks he has this match in the bag. But the Namekian standing across from him is not the same warrior he crushed on Earth. The in-game dialogue captures this perfectly, as Piccolo treats this entire fight like a performance, completely toying with the Saiyan to showcase the massive difference in their growth. Piccolo even allows Nappa to land that exact same blast that once ended his life during the sacrifice with Gohan, only this time Piccolo stands tall without a single scratch, shocking his former killer before eliminating him in a single blow to get his payback years later. With that match settled, the next match begins, Bardock vs Frieza. For Bardock, this is a long-awaited chance at revenge, a beautiful moment for the Saiyan to stand against the tyrant who destroyed his entire race. But for Frieza, it's just another opportunity to humiliate a low-class Saiyan. Though he finds something unsettlingly familiar about his opponent, he notices the striking resemblance to Goku, only realizing at the last second exactly who Bardock is. From the sidelines, Gohan watches the battle unfold. He stares at Bardock's face, catching the uncanny resemblance to his father, and remembers Frieza mentioning to them on Namek a story of a Saiyan who stood up against them with those exact same features in mind. It hits him all at once. The warrior in front of him is his grandfather. The excitement of that realization is short-lived, however. The match itself is brutally one-sided. Frieza still completely towers over Bardock's power level, securing an easy victory, but before the tyrant can drag the torture out any further, Gohan steps onto the tournament ground and puts a stop to it. This sets up the next round, Gohan vs Frieza. As Bardock nurses his wounds on the sideline, he watches closely, haunted by lingering visions of his son and trying to piece together the truth of who this boy is. Piccolo, overhearing Bardock whispering Kakarot's name, corrects him. This isn't Kakarot, it's his son Gohan. At first, Frieza doesn't recognize Gohan, assuming he's just another one of Goku's old friends. It isn't until the exchange begins that the realization hits him. Frieza mocks Gohan, sneering at him for trying to play dress up as his father without possessing the actual strength to back it up. But the match proves otherwise. Gohan dominates this entire match, effortlessly tossing the tyrant around the ring. Frieza is quickly pushed into a corner and tries to utilize his full power form, but that's when Gohan reveals the exact nightmare that's haunted Frieza ever since Namek, triggering the Super Saiyan transformation. Overwhelmed by a mix of panic and sloppy mistakes, Frieza is utterly crushed.
I'll defeat you! You're toast!
And Bardock can only watch in awe that his grandson embodies the very legend that he once envisioned, dismantling Frieza like it's child's play. When the match concludes, Bardock and Piccolo step forward together, filled with pride as they acknowledge the incredible warrior Gohan has become. The tournament advances to the long-awaited clash. Master versus student, Piccolo against Gohan. Piccolo's overjoyed knowing that he finally gets to face Gohan at full strength and openly admits to just how far his pupil has come. The battle is fierce, a testament to their deep bond and growth. Gohan manages to secure the victory here with a strategic ring out, but that celebration is cut short once again. A dark and overwhelming presence shakes the heavens themselves. From the depths of hell, Janemba is born. The balance of Otherworld starts to tremble, and Bardock and Piccolo are dispatched to confront the threat. Descending into the pits of hell, the pair encounters Janemba's initial childlike form. They mistake his strange, playful appearance for weakness, a mistake that costs them dearly. In moments, both warriors are drained of their strength, their energy completely suppressed by the reality-warping beast. As Bardock struggles to remain conscious, Janemba shifts into his next terrifying evolution. Before he can be erased entirely, Gohan intervenes, rescuing his grandfather. He challenges Janemba alone, but the result is no different. The demon's unpredictable power proves to be too much for him, and Gohan too is overwhelmed. As Janemba moves in for the final blow, all hope seems lost, until a familiar figure descends from the skies. Son Goku has arrived. Bardock is stunned, marking the very first time he has laid eyes on his son as a grown warrior. Both Gohan and Piccolo are ecstatic to see him. It seems Goku's been completely buried in tracking down stronger opponents across the afterlife, meaning he hasn't seen his friends or family in a very long time. Goku's attention shifts to Janemba, and he takes charge of the situation, ordering the others to stand back. Unlike his movie counterpart, this version skips straight into Super Saiyan 3 and starts to absolutely pummel the demon. This Goku is as strong as Fusion Reborn Gogeta, and it doesn't take him long before he destroys the demon with an explosive, devastating Dragon Fist.
I don't. Who will? Dragon Fist!
Goku shares a brief, meaningful reunion with his loved ones before setting off once more into the depths of the Otherworld, searching for his next major challenge. Back on Earth, Dr. Gero makes his move. He's already built a new line of androids, 16, 19, and a tall man with long hair whom he calls Android 13. Once they hit the streets, Gero sends them out to begin tearing down the rebuilt cities, but it isn't too long before Piccolo steps in to defend the innocent lives below. Because Gero lacks updated data on the heroes, he underestimates just how powerful they become in the afterlife. Piccolo has been waiting a long time to exact his revenge on the Doctor, and Android 19 is put down almost instantly. Seeing the destruction of his fallen android, Android 16 asks if Goku is present on the planet. When Piccolo informs him that Goku isn't there, 16 abandons his original directive, letting his new programming take over as he charges directly at Piccolo. But thanks to all that rigorous training Piccolo endured in heaven, even Android 16 can't compete with his current level. This sends Dr. Gero into a panic, worrying that his grand plan might be cut short before it truly began. Dr. Gero demands that Android 13 rush into the battle, but the android ignores the order. Instead, Gero attempts to take on Piccolo himself, and halfway through that match, he realizes he's fighting in an uphill battle. He decides his best option here is to retreat, but Piccolo isn't going to give him the chance to escape.
Sorry to make you wait. Take this! Don't you know me?
Desperate, he turns to Android 13, ordering him to step in and take Piccolo down. Across the planet, Gohan and Vegeta both notice the sudden spike in Piccolo's power. Sensing that something is going sideways, they take flight and speed towards West City to assist. Android 13 gives Piccolo much more trouble than anticipated, forcing the Namekian to burn through his stamina just dodging attacks. As 13 begins to toy with his opponent and things look grim, Gohan drops from the sky, intercepting a fatal blast just in time to save his mentor. Gohan tells Vegeta to get Piccolo out of the blast zone before rushing directly in to fight against the new mechanical threat. Gohan puts up an incredible fight, making victory look imminent. Backed completely into a corner, Android 13 realizes he has only one option left. He turns on his own creator, ending Dr. Gero's life on the spot, and absorbs the components of the fallen androids in his own system. This new fusion upgrade boosts his strength leagues beyond anything Gohan ever thought possible.
Gotta admit, you're good.
The battle turns brutal. Android 13 begins deliberately targeting the civilians below, forcing Gohan to drop his guard to protect them, giving the android the perfect opening to land a devastating sneak attack. Gohan takes a massive ki blast head on and crashes to the ground, a familiar dread washing over him as he faces what feels like another defeat at the hands of the androids. Vegeta rushes over to Gohan, and Gohan tells him that he already possesses the strength to defeat the android. He explains that Vegeta can ascend and win, and that he must defend the planet Trunks fought so hard to protect. Flooded with emotions, Vegeta steps up and shatters his limits once again, breaking through into Super Saiyan 2. He begins to pulverize the android, venting every single ounce of his built-up frustration through this explosive new power. As the dust settles, it's clear that Vegeta's the one that won the battle, putting an end to the androids once and for all. Gohan stands amazed by Vegeta's new power, while Piccolo makes a comment that the prince is right back to his usual cocky self. As everyone cheers for the Prince of Saiyans reclaiming his spot on the top, Vegeta acknowledges his rival's son, telling Gohan he did a good job and proved he's plenty strong. He reminds Gohan that there are other powerful fighters out there besides Kakarot. With peace restored, Gohan returns to his training with Piccolo, staying ready for whatever threat might arise next. And let's be honest here, it's Dragon Ball, so someone new is always right around the corner. I love this story. Yes, I'm a sucker for the future timeline, but even with my bias aside, this was a beautiful story that took inspiration from a well-loved fan manga. I'm really glad it didn't rely on Trunks to come in at the last second and finish off Android 13, though I would have liked one more epilogue reunion scene for when he finally lands his ship down on Earth to talk to everyone. Despite that, I would love to hear what you all have to say about this story down in the comments. And if you have your own custom battle that you want to share, make sure to drop them down below. Look out for the community post where I ask the community to share their own, or DM them to me on Steam or PlayStation. I haven't forgot about the custom battles that have been submitted to me. I have an entire Google spreadsheet that I'm trying to get through. The list is massive. As always, it's been your local overanalyzer Artellings, and I hope you have yourself a damn good one.